Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's talk about NVIDIA stock. Let's talk about what is happening to the stock, what we can expect moving forward, and all of that good stuff. So ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you do enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts, etc. on the charts, blah, 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 I do have a membership section on YouTube. That link is down below for just $3 a month where I share my thoughts every single day the market is trading, mainly on Tesla stocks, sometimes other stocks as well. Again, just $3 a month. Or for $5 a month, you get access to everything I just said, plus NVIDIA daily updates, again, every day as well. So definitely check it out if you're interested. Link is below. Love to have you there. But jumping into it, NVIDIA, unfortunately closing the day down once again, 1.22%. Feels like every day we're talking about NVIDIA, it's down some form of percentage, closing at just above $130 per share. Up a little bit post-market, but this is where things are interesting, right? Now, this is where things are getting very, 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 very interesting because there's some definite, bearish things about this, right? There's signs here that I don't like, right? There are definitely signs that I don't like, but there are still some signs for the bulls that maybe there's a chance still. So let's go over all that, right? Let's talk with the bullish side first. I'm going to give the bulls a bit of a bone here because I feel like the bulls have not been eating well on NVIDIA for a while now. And the first thing I want to talk about is this. So obviously, to get the elephant out of the room or whatever, we obviously have this head and shoulders pattern that so far seems to be triggering. So far seems to be triggering. This is just one candle, but so far it's not looking good. But like I said, this is gonna be the bullish side. I'm talking about the bullish thing. So why am I mentioning this like this, right? Well, if we zoom out, let's zoom out over here quickly. And let's go back all the way down to, I think here was, yeah, this situation that NVIDIA was in back in the $40 per share region. Same idea. Nice little push up, some sideways consolidation. Also had a nice head and shoulders pattern. Beautiful, with the neckline pretty much being right around here, give or take. Somewhere around here, right? We'll say somewhere around here. And what did it do? It also had a false breakdown. It had a massive false breakdown right here. And then what did it do after that false breakdown? Completely rocketed back up. Absolutely rocketed. And I see a lot of people, a lot of bulls posting about this, right? A lot of bulls are posting about this situation here where the last time NVIDIA was setting up almost an identical situation, it had a false breakdown, or it looked like it was about to break down, just to reverse very, very aggressively and pretty much destroy every single bear shorting this way too late on what seemed to be a very obvious head and shoulders breakdown pattern. The question, of course, is this happening again? Is this going to happen again? Are we just going to have this false breakdown just to rocket back up, right? That is the main question a lot of people, I'm sure, are asking, right? And I'll give you my thoughts on that. I'll give you my thoughts on it as we go back up. So just figured I'd mention this. So take that as you will with that information. Now the question again is this just going to happen again, right? Are we just pretty much doing the exact same pattern right here, right now? Well, unfortunately, it's not a simple answer. And the reason it's not a simple answer is because, if you go back in the video there, right? The difference there was the fact that let me just go back again really quickly. The difference was the fact that when this was breaking down in the 40s, there was it this pattern? Yeah. The neckline, right? The neckline here, you can see, right? Somewhere like this, give or take, right? It was somewhere around here. Yeah. It wasn't as bearish because here, we didn't like this candle right here, the hammer candle. First of all, it was a hammer candle, number one. We didn't get a hammer candle today. But number two, it wasn't as big of a breakdown. And we actually held around that area and we actually held above this bottom right here, or pretty much at this bottom area that was down here, which gave some pretty positive signs, right? The fact that it was able to close above this. Right now, obviously, it still wasn't perfect, but the candles looked a little bit more promising. The issue I have with this is the fact that the candles are less promising. It's not a hammer candle. The wick at the top is too long. And, we came right into that area that is clearly an area of resistance, right? So this area right here, that was an area of support, as I quickly draw this little out right here, right? So this area right here, you can see that this was, this was an area of support, right? A massive area of support, no questions asked, right? Where if I bring out the drawing tool once again, nice bounce, didn't close below it. Nice bounce, didn't close below it. Nice bounce, didn't close below it. Even this candle right here had a nice potential bounce as well. And even this one had potential, but this one was obviously teetering on the bearish crossover of the trend line, which is another factor we'll talk about very soon. But the point is the fact that it had these kind of situations happen. But today we gapped down below it. That's not a good sign. Not only did we gap down below it, but we came back into it, and so far we are turning based on this wick right here. This area that was a massive area of support into a resistance. That's not ideal. That doesn't give me a lot of confidence. So the only way for this to really turn around, in my opinion, is for the bulls to gap this bad boy back up, ideally above 132, and return this area back into support. That's what needs to happen. And we are gapping up right now post-market. That could happen. Tomorrow's FOMC. There is potential for it. There is potential. That's why I don't want to say, one candle makes a trend. Not yet. I wouldn't say the bears are victorious just yet. The bulls still have a shot at gapping this bad boy up, taking that 130 to 132 area and turning it back into support. The same way we kind of gap down below it and turn it into resistance, we could do the exact opposite. Gap above and turn it back into support. Massive, massive bear trap and make our way back up. That is a possibility, but we need to see it actually happen, because at the moment, you can't assume it's going to happen. You have to see it happen. You have to let the chart tell you it's happening, as opposed to assuming it's going to happen, because with the information we have provided right now, again, you have to make do with what you got. And right now, what we got is, it's looking bearish. It is looking bearish, unless we get that gap up and gap up reversal type situation that I just mentioned. So let's see if that happens. Right now, personally, I'm mainly just selling puts on NVIDIA, right? And that's the main thing I'm doing right now, because I'm not feeling as confident about just entering outright, too many shares or anything like that. I need to see more confirmation, because again, the other problem is the fact that this trend line, we gapped down and yesterday closed below it, and today gapped down below this trend line. So that's why I need to see 130 to 132 at the very least reclaimed, but ideally I want to see this trend line reclaimed as well, because ultimately we are still setting, lower highs, higher lows, right? And that's what we're doing. And as far as I'm aware, we could just maybe get a small little move up to back to this trend line just to set another lower high, and then continue down for, another lower low, and pretty much continue this lower high, lower low trend until essentially proven otherwise, right? That becomes a very real possibility. So this is why we need more information to see if this gap down, if this bearish head and shoulders pattern is legitimate or not. So far, it's looking like it is, but again, one candle isn't usually enough to confirm it. We need to see a bit more kind of continuation for the bears if they really want to see this pattern play out, and to really defend this kind of area I just mentioned. Now, let's say this pattern does play out. Let's say we do make our way down. There's two ways to measure it, right? One is just, you just simply take the pattern, right? Roughly from the top of the head to about the neckline, break down somewhere around here, and this can easily take us to 115. Easily can take this chart and the stock to 115. That becomes an extremely realistic probability for NVIDIA, assuming this pattern becomes valid and it plays out. So far, it's suggesting that it will. But like I mentioned, the bulls still have a shot, but it's pretty much now or never. That's probably my main target to the downside, about 115, for this pattern to really play out, this massive head and shoulders pattern, which from here would be a drawdown of about another 10-ish%. But the levels in between where we are now and my ultimate target, assuming this pattern plays out, is about $123 per share, which obviously has acted as a support back here and a resistance over here. Followed by, I'm sure you remember 123. I used to talk about 123 a lot when we were doing this little, when we were doing this little, situation here. Followed by about $120 per share, same idea, right? But the main target, of course, remains to be about that 115 pivot point level all the way down here. That does remain to be the main target to focus on for NVIDIA, assuming this pattern plays out, assuming we don't gap back up into that low 130s range, and ideally back into this rising channel / wedge. That's what the bulls want, and that's what the bears really want to defend. So let's see how this plays out. FOMC tomorrow, that could be a potential deciding factor to either reverse this pattern pretty aggressively. And if it reverses, I do think, again, if you get a false breakdown and if NVIDIA reverses and it gaps back up into that range, into the low 130s at least, the reversal can be pretty aggressive. And I think it can almost squeeze the shorts pretty aggressively back to the upside. That does become a very realistic possibility if we get that reversal confirmed. So let's watch for that, right? Let's watch for that. Otherwise, we're most likely making our way back down to 115. Anyways, that's probably the main thing as I got for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a quick look at options flow for NVIDIA. Let's see if the bulls are still stepping in over the bears. I mean, yeah, it's pretty mixed, right? Definitely not a little bit less focus on NVIDIA today. Definitely less attention from the bulls. 3.8 over there sitting at 2026, but it's a leap, so we don't really care about leaps too much. Yeah, not as much attention on NVIDIA today, right? I'll be honest, not as much attention as we usually see on NVIDIA. Maybe most of us are going to Tesla still. Maybe Tesla needs to finally top for NVIDIA to make its way back up. Who knows, right? Who knows? But with Tesla still looking the way it's looking, there's no signs of topping for Tesla just yet. So, I'm not sure Tesla's ready to top yet, which may be a problem for NVIDIA still, because it feels like they just can't move up together. It feels like if one's going up, the other one has to go down, and vice versa. And the last thing I want to very quickly mention is going to be this, right? You can look at the Bollinger Bands, right? And it has a little very aggressive kind of band in between. We're well below that band, but the band is red, right? So at the very least, this very aggressive band, it needs to turn red or green as well for NVIDIA to have a good sign of potentially, recovering. Or the other option is going to be, of course, we have this slightly less aggressive band, but nonetheless a very powerful band also to turn green while it's catching up to NVIDIA's on its, massive fall. But with that being said, this overall, oversold, overbought band is showing NVIDIA at pretty oversold territory right now, at least from this morning's low. But again, the trend lines are probably the most important thing right now because, it's a pretty delicate situation to say the least. But let's just see how it plays out. Let's see how FOMC goes tomorrow. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.